Okay, so
I didn't see you slip
we're
in.
good.
I
Okay.
didn't see you slip in.
I'm glad you all could come today, and I'm sorry that we didn't have enough to have a quorum, but we're going to go ahead and just go real informally, have a real informal discussion. We're going to have notes, and we do have the owl going, so we'll be fine with that. Nobody signed up to speak for public recognition. No. Okay, so we'll move on from there. I want to welcome Shannon Burdorf, and I know I misspelled your name. I apologize.
Oh, did you? I didn't
Yes,
look.
I think so.
No, it's right. It's
okay.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
It's perfect.
But I want to welcome Shannon.
And that never happens.
Yeah. I know, it's nice. Well, you'd think with the last name Wilbur, everybody would spell it, but they spell it like Charlotte in Charlotte's Web, and it's with an ER instead of a UR at the end. So yeah, I'm used to that too. But anyway, we want to welcome Shannon. She's our new board member. She's also the commissioner's representative on the board. So we've added to the agenda commissioner's report. So I'm going to let her speak and introduce herself and give us a little bit of an overview of how that's going to work.
You're ready?
Miss Shannon.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for having me. I wanted to be on the library board. I guess I really never thought about it, but I know there had been so many issues and people coming and going and leaving, and other people in the community had asked me if I could do anything to help, and so I offered to be on the library board from the commissioners. For one thing, with a budget of $2.75 million, my job as a county commissioner, the first job I have is to make sure that the money that you all have is being spent well and correctly. So that is my first job. And my second job as someone who enjoys the library and still uses the library, although I'm going to admit that I do use the Goodlettsville Library because it's literally closer to me where I'm situated in Hendersonville than the traffic-wise. It's easier also to get to. But I am an avid researcher and learner and reader. And so I want to be here to help with that because I believe that literacy is the most basic function of our society. And I'm pro-knowledge. And that is really why I wanted to be on the library board. And then, is that all?
That's fine.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. And I think she's met everyone at the table. So, but is there anybody else you need to?
Oh, yeah, it'll take me a minute to get to know all
everybody.
your names. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on because the minutes will be approved at our next meeting. But when we look at old business, we've lost our treasurer, and we're in the middle of a budget cycle, and we're going to have to start, attending budget meetings and that sort of thing. So I asked Beth if she would come and talk a little bit about the budget cycle, if we've got some questions or, any kind of interjection, is fine. So, but do you want to give us an overview first, or would you rather take questions first?
Let's take questions first, because I'm not sure exactly what you do know, don't know, need to know.
Right, okay.
So.
Does anybody?
I just made that to the report. She was so helpful. Thank you so much.
I know. So, well, thank you. I think I hear that a lot, and a lot of the emails that I get copied on, I hear that a lot about how helpful, and I can see that in the emails that I'm copied on. Does anybody else have a question? I know March 1st was the deadline, and everything was
March 1st
submitted.
was the deadline. We have gotten the requests entered into the budget document. We're in process of getting those sent out. If you don't get it this week, you should get it early next week, just to review, make sure everything we've entered is what you've requested, that we didn't make an error. It's not for any new requests or you know, anything you forgot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's mainly to make sure we didn't make any errors in what we entered. And then you'll have 2 weeks to review it from whenever you receive it to get it back to us. Budget hearings are currently scheduled for May 2nd and May 3rd. Jessica from our office will be contacting you to set up a time for your budget hearings.
Okay,
Probably for that May 2nd date.
okay.
Is what we're looking at, trying to get most of the departments scheduled for that day. So if we can get you, or if you would prefer to all come as a group, you know, you can reach out to Jessica and tell her you would, you know, prefer to be here all together, or if you don't, it's fine either way.
Okay.
That's what they've done in the past, yeah, we've been on one, as one, yeah,
Oh,
one
okay.
appointment,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And y'all
we've done
are-
it both ways.
What's easier for the finance department?
Doesn't really matter.
Whatever's easiest for y'all is what we do.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a little quicker if you're all, because we'll just schedule a time period for all of you to be together.
Okay.
And I don't think any of you had any exorbitant requests or anything really extraordinary. So
From what I understand, most everybody is staying within last year's numbers, right?
I think so.
And there haven't been a lot of new
Yeah, I
requests
think
or anything
did
else.
Hendersonville
I had a couple
asked.
of personnel requests.
Yeah,
but that's
yeah.
it.
So that's.
May I ask
To
a
make
question
sure.
about
Yes,
that?
you certainly may. Okay.
And I would prefer if we could do it all together. This is my first time to
Yeah, I'm good with
do
that.
any of it, and I would like to lean on their experience.
And I'm
as
sure
well.
that you
This
can
will be my
learn
first
from each
time.
other. Good
Yeah.
questions are good
I don't
questions
even
for
know what
everyone.
questions to ask.
That's
at
how
this
it
point.
matters.
That's what, you
Don't know what I
know,
don't know.
And
I'm a
it's
word
not as much
person, you know,
asking
so-
questions
Right.
as it is the budget committee asking you questions.
Okay.
Why do you need new personnel?
Mhm.
That sort of thing. So, um,
Yeah, it's much less a speech and much more a Q&A. And you're not the Q. They're the Q. Which leads me to a question about the, it's part of y'all's budgets, have y'all added the fix on the TLC and the,
We don't need to.
you don't
I
have
was gonna say,
to?
we could probably present that later and everything, but actually with, what we would like to do is switch to atrium.
Right.
Which in the long run will be cheaper and still fits within our budget.
I don't
So
have,
there's
I don't
no-
need more money to.
yeah,
make
there's
this-
no-
So you don't need it,
additional
I
money.
couldn't tell
Yeah.
from the original numbers that we had gotten,
From
so
mine.
I didn't, because I don't have
Yeah,
history.
no, you're fine.
So I didn't know, okay.
Yeah.
So all that's part of the thing,
Mhm.
okay.
Go ahead,
Are we going
Alicia.
to have a time to talk about that?
Yes.
'Cause we
Yes.
have some questions from
Yes.
our, I brought my catalogers with
I
me,
have
because
Okay.
yeah.
they're more familiar with how the system
Yep.
works.
Yeah, and I have used Atrium for 13 years,
Yeah.
so,
Mhm.
I can give you a little bit of,
Ours wasn't so much the functionality of it. There was some discrepancies in the quote that I received
Oh,
based on our
okay.
circulation numbers.
Lisa, will you give that one to Shannon? please?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Who is
And-
Lisa?
I'm Lisa.
Okay.
and
It's me.
here.
Yeah, there
I
you go.
knew it was one of you two, but I wasn't sure.
This
Do
is
you need
Alicia.
one? Yes, I know Alicia.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So, anyway, my question, I guess, is, will we be able to keep Susie as our note taker for next year, for next budget year?
I don't see a problem with the 600.
Okay, okay. So it's built into
Mhm.
that
I left it in
budget
there.
again, okay. And now, we haven't paid her for January or March, so it's gonna, you know, we won't be using that part of this year's budget either.
Right.
So, okay,
Yeah,
All
I'm the
right.
minute taker.
okay, good, because,
I got rid of the toilet paper, but I kept the minute taker.
okay, priorities are priorities.
They are a thing.
You know, so, anyway, and then, I think that's the only major question I had about that. I can't think of anything else, and we can talk about Atrium again in a minute. And, is there anything else, as you've listened to us, that you need to tell us?
no, the only thing that I would reiterate is anytime, I know we had some issues with the tech grants this year and the process of those. So anytime you are getting any kind of grant, which there's new resolution on that, before you even apply for the grant, that you have to notify the finance department. There's just new procedures for that. So if you're planning on applying, just contact me first.
And
Before we even apply, then?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll make myself available to sign off on it if you get it to, you know, I will drive anywhere to sign off
Are
on
the
it.
new guidelines up on the
They're on
website,
finance
so I can
website.
find it? Okay.
Mhm.
If I can have it, I can follow directions.
So let me ask, just reiterate what you just said in my mind. You're saying that before you can apply for any grant, you have to contact to make sure it's okay to write for the grant?
Well, we have to set a project number. The application has to be scanned into our system, and then it has to be sent to the budget committee and the commission before it's applied for.
Okay.
In the past, you could apply and
Yes.
then send it to us, but it was supposed to be approved by the commission before you started spending
I see.
it. And that didn't happen this last year. So now the rules have even changed since then, so.
You watch us rock it next year, though. And thank you for your patience with us this
Yeah.
year.
This is the first time any of us have done this.
Right, and we knew that. We knew it was a lot of newbies. and that's
Right.
okay.
It's a learning curve.
And
Yes, it is.
And those tech grants are valuable in like
Yeah.
gold,
Yes,
so.
yeah, and the libraries have been getting those for
Yeah.
A long time.
as long as I've been here.
Yeah.
So just remember that you gotta send that application in so you can
Yeah,
get
if
it
you're
in the
planning to
system
apply,
first.
just contact me.
All right. Does anybody else have anything, questions, concerns, anything about budget?
Just pray.
Thank you, Beth. Yeah.
Just, yes.
Thank you.
And,
welcome.
yes, thank you for being so helpful, and thank you for taking your time to come down here and talk to us, so.
I think it's just, if y'all, the finance department is here to help you. I know sometimes we get a bad rap. We're here to help and to help you follow the rules, because it's easier to do it right the first time or in the beginning than to correct in the end. So, but don't hesitate to reach out to any of us in finance.
Can I ask one quick question?
Yes, ma'am.
And this may not be, and it needs to go up somewhere else or whatever. Is there, and then we've always been told this, is there a reason or is there a way that we can have the libraries take debit credit cards? What would be the process to start that discussion, I guess you would say?
It'd have to be approved by the commission.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need to reach out to the trustee
Okay.
because it,
Go
like,
through that.
currently, the EMS department,
Mhm.
it has that capability.
Okay.
County clerk's office, they have. I know
We've
it's
always
down
been
right
told
now.
that, yeah, we deal with such small amounts with fines and things, but
Right.
nobody
And sometimes-
carries cash anymore.
Right, but that is an issue that EMS has run into recently.
Yeah.
The fees
Mhm.
were way more than the revenue
And
they
it may
were
still be,
receiving.
yeah.
And if that's the
Yeah.
there's no need to do that, that's
Okay.
the case.
But to start a discussion, maybe reach out to Cindy or everything at the trustees. Okay.
And I mean, sometimes you can actually, I mean, and it would have to go through the whole
Mhm.
line first, but a lot of times, if you do offer that, a lot of times you can actually tack that fee on it so that
Yes,
you're
you
not
would need to
losing
do
it.
that.
And
Exactly, yeah.
and then people
Yeah.
are choosing,
Right.
you know,
To pay
hey,
extra
I'll
for
pay
the-
that
We-
3%,
we
or I'll
were
pay that
doing-
whatever.
EMS was doing that, but
Yeah.
the bank fees
Mm,
Oh.
still were
Wow.
more
that surprises me.
Wow.
way
Okay.
more. Like
Okay.
3 or 4 times more
That's
than what they were
crazy.
collecting.
Yeah.
So,
Would that inhibit your ability to collect your fines if you charge that 3%? Have you,
I don't think so.
Because when we send them to the
Because they still have the
ATM, they're
option.
paying 5,
Yes.
7% in
And like I
on
said,
that.
you're dealing with most of a generation now that's all they know
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a card. So they're like, sure, yeah, whatever, fine, take it, you know.
Yeah.
So I
And if you go up to like
Yeah.
Westmoreland
Mhm.
area, especially like any small mom and pop restaurants, like, if you're gonna pay with your card, you have to pay the 3% fee or whatever, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I know Metro does that, but Metro libraries do not take debit cards.
Oh, okay.
I have to write them a check.
Nashville does that?
Wow.
No, because I have to pay for my out of county. So, well, it's free if I don't use the computer, you know, where I check out on the.
Surprised they didn't take cards.
No, but it's $10 for the access to the. I don't watch the movies or do anything. I don't check out any of the books on Kindle. I don't do any of that. But I pay $10 for the luxury of sitting at home to look to see what I want to check out so I don't have to go through the catalog. But they don't. I have to write them a check. They don't take cash. Do we take cash for funds?
We do.
Oh, we do?
Yeah,
Okay.
cash or check.
And a lot of times if there's a choice,
Mhm.
it won't get in the way of, I mean, they're either choosing to use their debit card and paying the whatever
Yeah, they can
percentage
just pay
on
the
top,
fee.
or they get to pay cash and not pay the.
Oh, I understand how it works. I just didn't know if it would inhibit your ability or if they would say, I can't afford that and walk
Oh,
away,
yeah.
you know. Because I guess some people can rack it. They don't have fines at Metro anymore.
I know. Yeah.
But they will send you to collections if your book is not.
Yeah.
And that does not make any sense to me. That's like the county suing somebody for $45. Anyway, I'm just,
Really fast.
That's for a lost book or a not returned book.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
collections, yeah, if you don't return whatever it is, yeah, yeah.
We've had discussions about fine free, but it's like, yeah, hadn't gone very far.
White House just went fine.
Yeah, I knew that, yeah.
How's that working out
Well,
for
it's just
y'all?
started.
Oh,
Well, she's
okay.
not there,
Yeah,
it's her
it's
sister,
just-
yeah.
Oh,
What's the
okay.
incentive to return?
Get your
You know what,
materials
I
back.
really think that, so my daughter works for Nashville Public Library, and she says that since they've gone fine-free, she could tell the difference. There is the one stipulation that they do send you to collections after a certain time. I think it's so many days, then you're charged to your account, so, you know, but we do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't send them to collections.
Do y'all depend on fines?
We don't get the fines.
We don't get
It goes
Yeah.
to the.
It doesn't
It's
generate
the general
income for us.
fund.
It generates income for the general
Yes.
fund.
Yes.
So, yeah, so the libraries are charging the fines and collecting them.
So you don't
But it's-
benefit
It's
from
not
it
going
at
back
all?
into our budget.
No.
If somebody
It
pays for a
doesn't.
lost book, the money for that lost book goes into the general fund, and then we have to rebuy the book out of our book fund. We don't even
Typically,
get the.
we ask
yeah,
them, we
So-
suggest
Yeah,
that they buy the book, because it'll be cheaper for them anyway,
yeah,
and just
Mhm.
donate it to us.
instead of us having to turn it
It's a
over.
replacement.
Yeah.
And that makes
Mm.
sense.
Mhm.
And a
And
lot of
that's what
times
we
they
usually
do that. A lot
A
of times
lot.
they'll, yeah, because they can't actually purchase the book cheaper. They can go to Amazon as long as
Right.
it's a, viable book and it's
Mhm.
not from another library or.
Now, one
Oh,
thing that
okay.
we used to do was like fine-free events, where right before summer reading or right before you go back to school, we would have a food for fines, and Gabby even did a presentation thing about program and everything. She just got it.
They
So
did-
It is something we would like to
They
go
did
back
those
to.
at Metro too.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's something we would like
And
to
it
go
was
back to.
awesome
We were
because-
told
Yeah.
several years ago by finance that we didn't bring in enough revenue,
Mhm.
so we canceled those, but it wasn't a permanent cancel. And we were gonna talk about maybe asking for y'all's opinions, thoughts.
Yeah. go ahead.
I have these there.
The
About
fine
doing,
waiver period, where they bring in like canned goods
Right.
or food
Yeah.
or personal hygiene.
I
products
did
that we
that
share with the
myself.
community.
Yeah.
Because I had kids that would lose stuff. I mean, I participated in that.
And it helps both the patron and the community, because
Yes.
the community gets, you
Because we
know.
all have like food.
And occasionally,
I have 7 or 8.
Okay.
we'll get an email, we'll get an email, somebody suggested going
Yeah.
fine free. So, the idea is out there, and they would like that idea of going fine free. But
Yeah.
it'll be a community effort between finance and the commission and
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
So, but it's something to think about.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along. Anybody else?
Thank you, Beth, I appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you're welcome to stay if you want to, but I know you've got things to do. If you need to get back, that's fine too. So, okay. I've got facilities committee, and we don't have anybody from the committee here, but
I
they all
did include in
experienced it.
mine, my facilities report.
Okay.
Yes, so it's in there,
Okay,
yeah.
so they've been inspected and they've been facility walkthroughs, so they can tell you what they found in their reports when we get there.
Okay.
Okay, we'll
Except
skip
Three more
to.
things broke this week, so.
Yeah.
I know, I heard about your water pressure thing or something with that, and
So, yeah, we still, I don't know when we're gonna get that fixed.
And just so you know, and I guess it goes back to the rough winter. I've seen a lot of
It was
utility
a-
trucks. Oh, this wasn't due to the rough winter? Okay.
So, yeah, when they came in, they had gone down to that unit that was by the street and came back, there was two of them, and said, that is really rusted. It has not been maintained, so we're gonna put that in our report. And then the guy hit the valve and the water shot through and blew it up, and we had a water feature for a little while.
So I was trying to be nice and blame the winter, and I couldn't do that. Okay, so as you know, it's life, isn't it? One thing after another. So yeah, we'll get to you in your report in just a minute. So we go through. We're gonna put the new business into the next meeting, committee, all of those things into next meeting. So we're gonna look at director reports right now and listen to what they have to say, question, answers, that sort of thing. I've got Gabby first, or I just put Gallatin first. So,
Okay, so I'll go ahead and tell you because I didn't bring y'all the facility reports. I didn't even think about that. But the only things I had were my carpet in the children's room, which is starting Monday. Maintenance and IT and the trustees are coming to replace.
and you're closed on Mondays, so that
Yes,
they can
and we
be
can be
there.
open while they're doing it. We were upstairs. We
Okay.
just, staff goes in to that area for the day.
Okay.
And nobody minds. So that'll take place Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And let's see. All of us are, I'm just skipping. I have a random. I think all four of us, I'm not sure about Alicia, are all going to the TNLA conference next month. And I'm gonna brag on Lauren because she doesn't, she's presenting this year.
Oh, really?
But we're all going, so we will be out for a couple of days in April on those days.
But it worked out well because it's a Thursday and Lauren and I are closed.
Okay.
So there's only one day that we won't be.
Okay.
We have an Easter egg hunt coming up, and we just bought 1,500 more eggs because we did the math for last year, and we only have about 2,000 eggs, and we had over 400 kids last year, so we bought more, and eggs are expensive.
Yeah.
Like $99 for, it is, yeah. So that's exciting. I'm hoping it's as big as last year. We also have Square Fest coming up, and we are going to have 4 local authors and 4 local nonprofit agencies set up with our friends of the library so that we're getting lots of attention during Square Fest. And I know I've said it before, we have the cleanest bathrooms in Gallatin, and they're free. So we get a lot of traffic during Square Fest.
And when is that?
April 27th. And let's see. We are getting security cameras. Our friends at the library are buying us 8 computers, and IT and maintenance are going to set them up. We're going to have 2 outside and 6 inside. We got the same kind that Anita got, so we know they're great. Let's see. Some of the events that we had in the last couple of months, we did 2 events for Valentine's Day because we did it the weekends before and after. The first one we did Donut Day, and we had Walmart donated 100 donuts, like plain glazed donuts for kids to decorate, and we had a craft kit. We had a balloon artist and a scavenger hunt, and I can't even remember what else. I've got pictures in my reports. And it was a big hit. We had, just on our door counter, we had 272 people come in our back door. And then on Pokemon Day, the next weekend, we did, I don't know, Pokemon, the pink characters and the lovey characters. And we had 359 that day. This month, our teens, we're still trying to get teens in. They have no interest in us. We don't have luck like y'all do, but we're trying. So we are doing a March Madness with young adult books, and every week they're getting to vote in person and online, and that's gotten more attention than anything we've done for teens in a long time. So that's, and then we're going to show that movie with snacks and stuff at the end of the month, whatever one wins. I've been invited to be part of the Sumner County, first ever Sumner County History Camp that the museum is putting on. And one of the full days is going to be at the library. Naturally, it's one of the days I have Leadership Gallatin, so I won't even be there, but my people can handle it. But it's a 4-day camp for middle schoolers, and we're going to be going all over Sumner County and learning about history. And they sold out of tickets like in less than 2 weeks. So we're really excited they let us be a part of that. I think that's about it. My stats are in here. They're looking great. I went ahead and did the last 4 months since we didn't meet last month. If y'all got any questions, just holler.
And are those your copies? I don't think I have my stuff.
Yes.
Do I have yours
I
yet?
think so. I think mine's on the
Yeah, I think it's on the
bottom.
bottom.
Is it? No, this is all Portland.
Well, hot dog, I'm so sorry. I got lots.
Thank you, thank you.
Maybe I'm not sure if I have it either.
Y'all,
We just want to make sure
there you
you
go.
have it represented.
I gave somebody something. Cecilia has it.
That's right.
Okay.
She's covered.
Jackie's got it.
I've got it now.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm done if y'all don't have any questions.
I was gonna say,
Okay.
with those double Valentine things and all the things that you've been doing, how is traffic and circulation and all
We
of that?
make so many new cards every day, and surprisingly, a lot of them come from like Chicago and California, and people are moving in droves, and we make lots and lots and lots of new cards. We also, and I think I have some pictures in there too. We have an artist display every month that goes through our Friends of the Library, but they do a reception once a month, and each month we have different artists. And our last 2 of those, we had Frank G, and I don't know if y'all have ever heard of him. He's a local artist. Last month, we had over 400 people at his show, and some of them drove from places to come to it. So it was people that probably would have never seen our library otherwise, and it's really easy to have a reception. So that, we love our artists. And we have another one this weekend, 11 to 2, for Jerry Grubbs. It has been a long time since I've gotten to talk up here,
Yes,
and now
it
I'm
is.
worked up. Yes, lots of new cards, all the new people. It's
I take the Gallatin paper, so I read the article about Frank G.
oh yeah.
Yes, we're friends. So I was tickled that that y'all got to host Frank G, and because his art is just sublime.
I don't know,
love it.
You know what his health is right
Yeah.
now, and we will probably be the last public show he ever has.
I didn't know about that, but it was an excellent write-up. So the Gallatin. Will they come out and
They do
for
all
your?
of them.
So they do every one of your art showings. That's awesome.
The lady that works on the Gallatin paper is also part of she's called the 3 Great Dames, and it's a musical
Yes.
woodwind trio,
Mhm.
and they come and perform occasionally, and she is one of the main writers of the Gallatin paper, and
Oh, that's
We really love
wonderful.
her, and she
Because that
takes
is
care of
great
us.
free publicity.
Mhm.
Yes,
And she has a
absolutely.
Portland connection too. She started in Portland
she's
writing.
ours. Okay.
And okay. I'm not gonna take her away from you,
Portland
but
takes too much away from me. Westmoreland, Millersville, they take my volunteers, they take my friends.
take your yeah. But she started in Portland, but
That's
she
fine.
is.
That's fine.
You know, she covered
She's
a lot of
so
things
wonderful.
in Portland. She is wonderful, and they were there Christmas. They were there at Christmas, because I saw it.
Oh, yeah, the open house, yes.
Yeah, the open house,
Yeah.
they were there too.
Yeah.
Okay, who's next? Hendersonville, okay.
All right, so, this past month, well, past 2 months, we have opened our toy library and our seed library. Both have been a bigger success than what I believed in at first, so that's nice.
What is a toy library?
So our toy library, we collected toys. They took donations in of just educational toys, no batteries, no electronics, things that encourage play. And I will give you a copy of this when I walk around. But it talks a little bit about why a toy library would be needed. It allows kids to check out toys that they may not be able to have at home. Parents can try things out before they buy them, and it just kind of increases that use of community sharing. And I mean, what kid doesn't like to come in and walk out with a toy as well? So we do have limits. For instance, if you check out a toy, you can't check out the same toy the next week. You have to wait and let somebody else do it. I think we have 30 toys currently that are in rotation. If it's not on the bookshelf, there's a catalog that kids can look at and kind of plan what's coming next. And then just wait for that.
Does your children's librarian pair those with literature of any sort?
There's literature sitting right beside it.
Oh,
So
okay.
there's different books talking about sharing and, things that are
Or like if you had a
relevant.
backhoe, you would have like a Dora Kinsen, whatever,
We
like
had a
with
backhoe, that's
backhoes.
amazing.
Well, but you know what I mean. I
Right
have
now, a
boys.
lot
I'm
of the
just
toys that
thinking
we
of,
have are just like manipulatives,
Oh, okay.
stacking,
yeah.
that type of thing. As we increase it, and we have boxes all down our hall of toys. So as we go through things and find better toys, figure out how it's even working, because it's only been opening for a month.
Yeah.
We want to make sure we're functioning slow and taking care of the patrons' questions and needs as they come up before we get any
Yeah,
bigger.
yeah.
with
Oh,
it.
I just didn't know.
Yeah.
I think that's a
And
great
then the
idea.
seed library is where we supplied the seeds, and they can come in with a card, or they can fill out their email, take the seeds home, plant them, and then when harvest time comes, they'll return those seeds and continue it. So that's just free, come grab some seeds. We had a local artist who's also involved in all the environment, and really gave me a lecture about invasive species and bees that I wasn't expecting. She has poured her heart into this program and took a card catalog and painted it and got it all ready for the public to have. And we had a lot of good, positive feedback through social media about people excited to see it was happening, that it was happening in other libraries, and to have it in Hendersonville was nice as well. I will credit Lisa with getting that started. So she is part of the Master Gardeners of Sumner County. They have also partnered with us to completely redo all of our landscaping. That got started in the winter as they planted bulbs. It's now coming up. We just did our designation, I'm sorry, I'm on meds. Dedication of the Monarch Way Station. So it's this big project that's going on. One of the things that the Master Gardeners really wanted, and this just makes me love our community, is they wanted a shed for all their equipment. I don't have finances for a shed. And our friends really didn't have the money for it, so our county maintenance department heard that we needed a shed, and they found one on Merrill Hyde's property, but the school property that wasn't being used. And then we reached out to the community and found a mover with a steel company who just wanted to give back to the community, and they got that whole shed, because they couldn't take it apart, moved and placed, and it cost us nothing. So we have a beautiful metal shed. So there is, when I do hand these to you, there is a write-up on both the toy library, seed library, and then the things that are going on with the Master Gardeners. Because, like I said, I just took a med. Do you want to talk about the rosarian?
I can.
Because I will butcher that one.
So so in our courtyard, it hasn't been worked on in years. In fact, I think the last time it was worked on was probably 2009 or 2010. And we have a Master Rosarian, Ron Daniels, who is taking on when you're in the courtyard, the left side of the courtyard is going to be a formal rose garden. So we're in the transition of taking the plants out and planting the roses that'll be in that area. We figured that was a safe area where to put those for the sheer standpoint of the children use the courtyard a lot. But that area, the children aren't in. It's kind of decorative and blocked off from the sidewalk area. We're hoping that should begin soon and be finished before the end of the growing season. On the right side of our courtyard, we're going to request to build a children's interactive gardening spot so that we'll have raised beds, teaching children how to raise their own vegetable garden, how to raise their own plants and gather seeds. Some other things that we're going to incorporate in that area in the courtyard will be that children's area. We already have games set up in there, giant-sized lawn games, a giant chessboard and a giant Connect, and then we have some furniture that we're hoping to work on and getting some new cushions for that area that we're going to hopefully go through the Friends to get that we've got a proposal together, and we're hoping to present that tomorrow to the Friends to be able to acquire a little bit more money to be able to back some of those projects. We figured that with what we were able to get donations and donated items and man hours already since January, we've acquired over $4,000 worth of donations for that area. So the only money that we've acquired for that area from the Friends is around $500. So we're going to request a little bit more money to see if we can augment that change rapidly rather than a slow pace. So we're hoping.
Very nice.
As far as like the logistics, all are Title VI certified now. They've all done their training.
Nice. That's great.
90% have completed their core competencies. I have some newer employees that just hadn't gotten to it yet. Our projection is to have that 100% by April 1st. Our staff training day may or may not happen. It was scheduled for March the 22nd. We're going to check on that. We have first aid CPR training that's going to be provided to our staff by the Hendersonville Fire Department, and that will be taking place in April. It will not be open to the public. It is strictly for our staff. This came about when nobody knew where the first aid kit was, that we had Narcan, how to use a fire extinguisher. We have some younger people that just haven't experienced those things, so I thought it was important that they be trained, and the fire department's going to do it for free for us. With our budget, we are at 56% across the board.
Okay.
We have had some major expenses with our elevators and now this fire thing. I'm not sure whether that's going to have to come out of my budget or if it's going to go somewhere else. That remains to be seen. In April, I will not be, I hope to attend the conference, but I'm going to get my heart fixed, so we're going to do that on that day instead.
That's a little important.
Yes.
You know, I asked, I was like, if the surgery is only an hour, can I get there? But that following Saturday, which I am going to try to attend because I'm really excited about this, we are celebrating the Pony Express because it's the anniversary. And there's a big, across the nation called Biblioboro. There's a big, long story of how it happened. We've managed to get a donkey that's going to come, and the kids are going to learn all about the Pony Express and why the librarians during that time are important with that initiative. We've partnered with WHIN to be a part of their K9 Classic 5K that's going to take place at the library, utilizing that. So we'll have a booth out to talk about our different programs, maybe get some new library cards. Okay. Last April, we had done our special needs awareness co-op event. We had, at that time, I believe we only had 12 vendors. We have I put 20 plus on my thing because I didn't want to commit everybody, but right now it looks like we have 26 different resources that are going to come, set up tables, and just make a day of learning about what type of resources we have in our community for special needs.
Okay.
And I think that covers it.
Okay. So, circulation's up, people are coming in, and,
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
This is why I'm asking for more employees.
yeah.
We have
Okay.
stopped as far as starting any new programs because honestly, we don't have any more space. Our meeting rooms stay booked. Just last month, we had 43 events that weren't sponsored by us.
Using
In our
your-
program attendance, it was 992. I wanted to put our library visits, but our sensor got broken, so we are having a new one installed.
Okay.
But they're,
Yeah.
they're really busy.
Okay. Thank you. I hope everything goes well in April.
I'll be on the best place if something does go wrong.
That's right.
They'll have
Yeah.
the zappers.
Right, yeah. All right, Westmoreland.
Oh, me?
Yes, you're up, Miss Lauren.
Portland.
Alright, changed it up this
I have two more,
Yeah,
so
on the list,
Cecilia,
it's up.
and then
Yeah,
y'all
I've
both got my
tried
package,
to,
right?
yeah.
Beth, I have an extra if you want it.
I don't know what we're doing.
Beth stayed, so I'm like, might as well know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. I don't have anything in my packets that's like looking forward, so I'll do that like verbally, like what's coming up soon. January, this was from the packet that I had for January's meeting. Nothing really big of note, just our different programs that we've had. Our coming soon was our floor layout, so that last page, that's our projected layout once I restructure all the shelving for the children's library and adult library to be swapped. Worked out my finance, thanks to Beth. Gonna be able to purchase some furniture, move some funds around and get a new desk for my children's librarians because I'm taking back my office. I've currently been working out of the kitchen for about a year and a half because the children's librarians needed a space to prep for programs and do their work, and so my office was in the middle of the children's area. It just made sense at the time, but I'm excited to have my space back instead of leaving and walking out and people cooking in my area. So that's exciting. That is projected to be in September. I've been working with Robert and Jeff in maintenance and IT to get that all set up. So that's pretty much all of January's report. And then this report for March, the green one, it's just got like our programs and events. Our homeschool program on Wednesdays continues to be our biggest. Today we had 40 people in the building, and if you've ever been in our building, 40 people seems like a lot of people in that really small space. You can't be on one end without hearing all the kids having fun on the other end. Kind of have to come through and remind the 8-year-old boys, like, hey, slow down. Like, you can't run in this space ever, but like, they just get excited and they're not bad behaved. They're just happy to be together. We've had a couple of teen programs that we're slowly working on, getting teens involved in something aside from sports or just being at home is interesting with our hours and with our town, so working on branching out some more. We added 197 new books to our collection and only got rid of 29, so we're growing a lot. And then something that I added on page 7, our library of things, Alicia, I say it wrong all the time.
It doesn't matter.
So you talked about like y'all have the toys, so we've got these kits that we order from Penworthy. All of them so far have been purchased through regional, state, federal funds. And we have, as of today, this report is old, I've cataloged the rest that we had in our hands today. So we've got 19 kits that include like toys, hands-on, textiles, different things that they can work, and it also has a book paired with it. It's all in a bag. They can check it out, and on the bag it has listed like what's in it, what's the replacement cost for that item, because the kits are like $140 or more. But if they can replace, like if they lose one of like the brain diagram or whatever, they can just replace that and spend like $20 instead of having to get the whole new kit. But we have 5 more coming in. I just made an order through Penworthy. So we kind of outgrew our shelf space there, but when we restructure this fall, it's gonna have a whole section dedicated to it. Spending, we're on target. I've used most of our county budget's funds for books, but we've got our regional purchases we're about to make, and then like when summer reading hits, we're not ordering books. We're just focusing on serving people, so we're pretty much on track. And then page 10 on the green packet, it's just our looking ahead. I did include looking ahead. I forgot about that. I've slept since then.
That's right.
Barely. So March 16th, this Saturday, we are breaking ground, sort of, on our community garden. Lisa, lovely Lisa at Hendersonville, partnered us up with a local Sumner County master gardener, Trisha Kitchens, and then we have Katie and Treasure who are also working on this. They have Wentworth or Compton Sawmill, we've got Beasley's Property Maintenance, they're all working on it, and between our friends and then the county master gardeners, it's completely paid for. We've had a lot of donations coming in for that. So we're excited to start breaking ground-ish. They're all gonna be raised beds. The only thing we're breaking ground on is we're gonna put some fence posts down to help with critters. The day before Easter, that Saturday, we are closed for Good Friday, but we're gonna be at the park about a block over from where the library is doing our community egg hunt. This is a partnership we had with the city last year, and it's even bigger this year. Last year, we spent about $750 through donations with the friends to host it. This year, I set the budget the same. I was like, we're just gonna work with what we've got and what we know, and then we can start building up for next year. Our donations have already hit $1,150 for the egg hunt.
Wow.
So I've already bought all the candy. Next week, I'm out of town, but we got people coming in stuffing eggs, and we've got all the city's eggs, all of our eggs. It's gonna be a whole event for them to get those ready. But I'm gonna have like craft stations. I'm borrowing Gabby's bookmobile from Gallatin. She's gracious enough to let us borrow it. I'm gonna have a staff member working on like if people wanna sign for library cards, if they wanna know more, just stuff like that set up. We've partnered with local churches that, just the connections we had that they wanted to donate. They're not gonna do an egg hunt at their church. They're gonna fund this to help it be bigger. So it's gonna be a big ordeal. I'm excited. Really glad that I'm actually able to enjoy it this year. Last year I was extremely pregnant during the egg hunt, and I was miserable trying to spray paint the lines on the ground. Couldn't even like bend over. I spray painted my foot. So this year will be more fun. I put on here, begin my ILS migration. We haven't talked about Atrium. That is just the target date because of summer reading. So that's just something that we can include in that because we want to make sure if we do go forward with this that it's done before summer reading starts. We don't want to do that in the middle of summer.
Your face.
Sorry.
It's gonna be great someday.
And then purchasing new furniture, I plan to do that in April. It'll be delivered, we'll store it in-house until after summer, and when we remodel, it's not remodeling, we're not tearing down walls, we're not putting up anything. But when we restructure the shelves, I'll be putting in a whole new circulation desk that matches what we have up front, just like smaller, for the children's librarians. And I also plan to purchase myself a new desk because mine is old, and when we moved it to the kitchen, it broke, and it's kind of just like living its life, barely. I don't put too much weight on it. So I told my friends of the library that I'll have to get rid of that, and it's something that they donated in memory of someone, so we're working on fixing like what we can do going forward. But aside from that, life's pretty normal day to day. We're busy as ever. We had several new cards made in February. February and January are usually our slowest months, and we normally get like 20 new cards or something. We had 43 new cards in January. So that was a big, I was surprised when I looked up those reports.
That's great.
All right, thank you, Lauren. Miss Amy, you're up.
Alright, I think I've got y'all ours. I've emailed most of this already to y'all. It just is the first one is November and December, and it's just what we were doing, and it has our stats, and it's got a comparison, and just the fun stuff that just kind of is what makes a library be a library. So for our January and February,
is this group, and I'm super duper excited about so much stuff that we've been doing. It's ridiculous. So I was able to participate in February with the one booklets at Millersville Elementary School. I was able to read the first 2 chapters of Mr. Popper's Penguins, and the kids had an absolute blast. It was so much fun. I know this happened this month, but I was so excited about it, I just can't help it. The children's librarian and I went to the elementary school and we participated in Read Across America Day, and I love partnering with the elementary school. We're gonna go back for a game evening that they're gonna have. We're gonna have all of our summer reading stuff, and so we can start getting that out. That's gonna be in April. We have finally completed all of our rebranding, and it's going to be in a packet that says Millersville Public Library Branding 2024. I think everybody should have, it's in the pack. It's somewhere in there. And so.
It's about halfway.
There it is. It just really kind of, so we had our children's librarian create our new little, I don't know, a mascot, and we put, we put on Facebook and Instagram where people could suggest names. And so we got the names from the community, and then we did a vote, and his name is Norman Booksley.
I love it.
And that is his bird Pip. And so, if you want, they're the sources I use for deciding how we were gonna do our rebranding. So we have our color schemes, our fonts, our primary is, so it just goes through the children's has a special little different font. And so we can try to get all of our social media. If you notice, all of our print materials, that's all kind of in the same. We want to have a very consistent image, and that's not something we've had before. And so Kenny and I have been working on this since August. And then we have our new logo. And then we have our official letterhead. It's got the seal of Sumner County, and it's got our library on it. It's got our basic contact information. This is for the official documentation, like when we need to write everything down. And then on the back of that page is the mission statement from the library board. It has our vision statement, and we are currently working on our core values and a motto for our library. And I'll get into that in a minute. Y'all know I have no children. Okay, and so these are examples of Norman that we can use throughout all of our social media. He's gonna be popping up. We have a gnome that's reading a book that we have painted that looks like this, and so he's going to start going out in the community, and people find him. They can tag us on Facebook or Instagram and that type of thing. And I'm working with the few local partners we have in Millersville to see if we could do a drawing for the first 5 people that find them. Your name goes into a drawing to get a gift card or a gift certificate, or maybe your lawn mowed for free. I don't know. Don't tell the wait. They don't know I'm going to ask for that. And so there's just another book sleeve. And then this is our social media brand for where your picture goes on Facebook and Instagram. I don't know. He's just adorable. And we thought it worked for Millersville, and so it's Norman Booksley, the reading gnome. And the kids loved it because they got a help name on it, and kids have the best kids. Okay, so I was really excited about that, so I kind of jumped around. So I'm really excited about that. We're cleaning up the MARC records still. It's an ongoing process. I am still working on developing updated written procedures on day-to-day operations. Every time I'm like, yes, I'm done. Something else, I'm like, oh, okay. It's never done. We are continuing, it's a continual review of the collection to make sure we're in compliance with the adopted policy. We are working on a systematic review of our call labels, and so when Millersville first opened, all we had were books that were donated from other libraries that had already been used. And so the call numbers are all very different. We've got books from Gallatin that's got the Gallatin stamp on them, so this is just as we're doing our inventory, we're going through, and we're trying to make everything be consistent. Consistency is key to patron ease of access. And so it's arduous, but it's worth it because it'll make everything more accessible in the end. And already, summer reading, hitting it, going. We'll take donations. So right now we are reviewing our collection. I hate the word guesstimate, but see where the oldest part of our collection is and kind of earmark part of the next year's budget to replace it so that there's a continual reading and renewing of the collection. So I'm working on that to figure out what we're going to be doing for next fiscal year. At the end of the fiscal budget, or February, we are at 57.9%. Something I literally just realized, and I've been here how long? Our February budget line doesn't include our P card purchases for February because they're still being processed. So there's actually more already spent, it just hasn't been finalized. I'm super smart, y'all. We had our staff training on March 5th. It was a hoot and a half. It was from 11 to 5:30. This allowed for anybody that wanted to vote before or after to be able to go. Our friends provided our lunch for us, and we were really focusing on teamwork, communication, and how we can enhance the library. So we had everybody split up into teams, and they had like problem-solving things, and I think I'm funny, and I said the only rule was no electronics. It took them a while to figure out that they could ask each other. But, and then we each had a chapter of The Power of Moments by Chip and Dan Heath, and it's about creating moments of exceptional moments, and how we can manufacture them for the people that come into our library. Like, our summer reading is spectacular, but what can we do to have it be one of those core memories? And once we build those core memories, especially for our young readers, they're going to be lifelong learners and readers. So we did a lot of that. We worked on creating our core values and our motto, and we've got big posters up in our everything space, and we're putting down ideas of what we want to do, and then we'll come back and brainstorm after summer reading. Y'all know I love numbers, right? It's what makes a library run. I have the comparison of January and February of last year to this year. And just to note, we were closed all of January last year because of the flood. So the numbers are vastly different. But I think considering we were closed for that long, we still did pretty good. We've been averaging about 40 people for our homeschool program on Wednesdays. We've been averaging about 20 people for our story time on Fridays. We have some adult programming that's kind of hit or miss. So we're just trying to see what people are interested in. The staff and I are working on a community survey. We are hoping to get it, well, Cecile knows. I was hoping March 1st, that's not gonna work, maybe April 1st, to get that out, and then I'm gonna have it out all during summer reading and pull it back in September so that we can get a wide range of what our community needs, and then we can see what we can do to meet the needs in our community. This is going to be the 4th year that we've done a seed library. We're gonna have that ready to go on Friday. I lost 2 clerks a day apart, and so we're short-staffed, but I've been doing interviews, and I hope to have people hired by next week. So that's kind of put all these projects a little behind. I had hoped to have the seed library up earlier. We are working with the friend of Gabby's that I stole because I'm awesome, to help us work on our garden club for our kids again this spring and summer. I am meeting with the master gardeners to talk about our community garden as well. This is all things that we started during COVID, and it's been such a hit with our community that we keep on going. Got 2? Okay. And so, y'all, I love numbers. It's the librarian in me. And so I have the statistical growth of Millersville, and this is from when we opened. And I think we opened in August of 2015. And so this it's somewhere. I think it's 2014. 2015, so fiscal year 2015. And so this packet compares all the numbers that we use the statistical worksheet. I got it from Janice right before she left. I got all of the old ones. And it just shows like our wireless sessions is when people come in and use our Wi-Fi. We have extended the Wi-Fi out so you can get it in our parking lot, which is a great need that we have in Millersville. Our interlibrary loans, all of the very basic of things that libraries have been counting since libraries became a thing. Sorry, I know I'm taking too long. I really hope we can do the food for fines, because those donations would go directly to the food box, the blessing box at the library. And we can't keep it stocked. I stocked it this morning when I got in, and it was empty when I left. We reach out to, it's fully funded by the donations from the community. We can't keep it stocked. It is empty every day, and it breaks my heart because I don't have a way to stock it. Okay. So for the building review that Debbie and I did, I need to get the parking lot relined. I'm still just trying to figure out who I can even ask to find out how much that would be. Jeff told me I should talk to the guys that do the roads, so I'm gonna send them an email. Yeah, I think that's who he said.
I'm on the highway.
Oh, okay, well, maybe I'll just talk to you.
There you go.
My parking lot is very
Not
small.
so bad to have a commissioner on the board after all, is it?
Signs for my parking lot.
Huh?
Can we also talk about signs for
And
my parking lot?
You know, I tell you what, Toby wants to be everybody's friend.
There you go.
I'm always looking for friends.
And then she finds them and then I steal them.
Toby likes to make people happy.
And then I just have one last thing. I know, I'm sorry, I appreciate everybody's patience. Our beautiful Gabby Cato has been given an honor award at the Tennessee Library Association this April, and it is for people that make a difference in their library and a community, and she has to be recommended by someone. Like, it's not, she can't do it herself.
How do you know what it was for? Because I don't know.
This is our assumption.
I work in a library.
Okay.
I know how to
The other awards are like trustees and friends and stuff like that. Our award just seems like.
Hey, well, I will interject here. I was at dinner with a friend Friday night, and I know you're going to know her, but I will not name her for the owl. And she brings her granddaughter in, I think on Wednesdays for tutoring. It's when y'all have bingo.
Yeah.
Because she solved your parking problem. She says you should have bingo in the mornings, not after school.
Oh, but it's not only bingo that the parking lot's full.
Well, anyway, she said, we were talking about it, and she said, so my granddaughter goes for, and she said that she's a little bit on the spectrum, and she's a little bit, I don't know if she's completely reading yet or not, but I know she's an IAP at school, and she had to go to tutoring in a different library, and then she got in the car and she said, "Baby, I don't like this library at all. I like my Gallatin library because my Gallatin library, when I walk in the door, is like a big old hug."
Oh.
That's why we
And
do
you
it.
know,
That's it right there.
I may have your recommendation if it has to be a member of the community.
See, I don't even know what it takes.
Anyone could send a
Anyone can do
recommendation
it,
on
but
the
I'm
TNLA
just,
website.
Scabby won't talk about it, so, but we need to,
Yes.
she's doing amazing things, and I'm so glad that she's gonna get recognized, and she hates that I said this.
I meant to
And I'm
say
gonna
it
do
on
it
the
again
show.
anyway.
Well, I wanted to share that with you because
Good
that
job, yeah.
that tickled me. My kids never told me they thought their library was a big old hug,
Aw.
but I thought that was sweet.
Yeah.
That's our goal.
It's not about the dollars sometimes. You
No.
gotta eat.
There's not many.
No, you've gotta eat, but it's about those little
It's the
things
people.
that, yeah, that you just can't put a price
The
tag on.
glimmers.
That's
Right.
right, looking for the glimmers.
Mhm. All right, Miss Anita, Portland.
So it's hard to follow all those and everything, and I won't talk long, because if I just start talking too much, I'll start coughing and everything, so. You have my reports here from November and from December also. Everything's going great at Portland. The one thing I will say from January and February, our biggest program, be it children's, adults, anything, is our bingo program. We set a new record for us. On February the 20th, we had 65 people
Whoa.
in for
Was
bingo.
that the
That's
time I was there? Because
amazing.
I was
Yes.
there for a record
Yes.
day. 'Cause
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was
Yeah.
a big group.
Talk about a parking problem.
It was
We have a parking
huge.
problem on bingo day.
That's
Yes.
hilarious.
Miss Vicky is our star bingo caller.
Uh-uh.
They come for her.
I love Miss Vicky.
It's surprising how much they want that candy bar. That's all we get. We give candy bars and candy and things
And this
like
is
that.
not children, these are
These are
adults
Oh, yeah.
that fight
That's
over the
okay.
prizes.
I liked
love it.
bingo when I was a kid too,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, they literally, it's like a church, because they come in, well, you didn't used to sit there, well, that's my chair. Well,
Oh
that's
my
just-
gosh, yes.
So, yeah.
Now, they did have food that day.
Yeah, they did have food today. Our other thing is not unlike the other ones and everything, they've been doing it for years. This is our first year of doing a seed library. Mista, who is my operations manager, she reached out to a lot of companies, the UT Extension Office, I mean, just a lot of, we have over 3,000 seeds that we're ready to give away to people and everything. So this is our first year of doing that. Like I said, you can see all of our numbers that we have listed on here. Our budget today, right now, without the February, whatever, is at 59.3. So we're pretty much right on schedule with our budget also, yeah. Debbie Martin did come and do a facilities walkthrough with us in January. Nothing was found other than there were 2 doors that were leaking underneath, and it was just from where the weather strippings were so old. So I just got new weather stripping and put them on myself. Yeah. Other than that, we were all good. Any questions or anything? Anybody? Mine's easy.
Thank
Huh?
you.
59.
That's exactly what we
Is it?
Well, good, yeah. So everybody is on schedule
Trucking
and
along.
very good. So, when we start turning in the reports and all for MOE, sounds like we're gonna be in good shape. So that's really good to know. All right, Miss Cecilia.
Okay, I didn't
From
know
Red
if
River.
you wanted to hear from me today, but
Yes.
I'll be quick too. I know it's getting late. So first of all, I just want to say thank you to Commissioner Burton for meeting with me. That was a really nice chat. We spent a couple of hours at one of the natural branches.
Gillisville.
Yeah, so that was kind of fun. I have a lot of summer reading stuff in the car, so before you leave, can I give you a box?
Absolutely, yes.
Please.
Great. The tech grant, you mentioned the tech grant, so the term ends at the end of April, so just kind of get the invoices in and all that stuff, and then I guess the deadline will be sometime in May, June, something like that. That's usually when we do
Installation?
it, to apply again.
Oh,
Yeah,
It starts.
so if you have any questions about it, just get in touch with us.
Is
But
there a
I think
deadline?
you're all good.
is there a deadline for installation?
Yes.
Okay.
And I guess your county is helping you with that kind of stuff.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
okay, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
They're installing everything.
Yeah, exactly. If not, you can always contact us, we have someone who can help you, but I think your county is taking care of the IT
Y'all
stuff.
have the best dressed IT department. in
I
the
know,
world.
we have that one person, he's very well dressed. E-rate 471 is closing on March 27th.
I don't think we're doing that.
No, this
You're
is
not
E-rate.
you're doing E-rate, okay. One news from the region that I listed here that I think is kind of nice, that you probably know, you might have heard about this, but Clarksville Montgomery has been working to get a branch forever. I think when I started in 2016, I thought they were going to open that year, but that, of course, so we're now groundbreaking on Friday.
Yeah.
So that's big news for them. And
She's so
They're
excited.
in our PLI class.
yeah. So it's exciting that somebody's actually getting a branch and a county that's putting a lot of money into the library for sure. I sent an email out the other day about having a board share.
Yes, I got it. I
Roundtable.
need to
Yeah.
I need to respond, but
Okay,
I'm
okay.
planning on.
Okay, good, good.
Being there.
So we'll talk about board recruitment, we'll talk about working with the library directors, we'll talk about budget. That's kind of what, this is the time to talk about that, so I'm hoping to get some board chairs on board that day and we'll chat about that. We do board chair roundtables. We try to do it every quarter. We have 14 libraries in the region that I work in, so.
And it's a Teams meeting, so
Yeah.
I can
It's kind of
sit
nice
in
to
my
get
living
people
room
together.
and
Yeah.
look at all the people,
Yeah.
so and it is really nice to see them. And then when we went to the training in September,
Yeah.
to actually, put a face to a name was neat too.
Yeah.
So.
And there's always different experiences,
Mhm.
and, so it's a good thing. TLA is coming up, so I'm glad that you guys are coming, because it's going to be in Franklin and sending staff and stuff. That's really, really nice, and I'm excited. We have a person in our office who's on the awards committee. Anyway, so, and then also, so I'm happy that you're presenting. I'm hoping to go to it, unless it's
Oh, I think it's at the same time as
That's mine.
Lori's and y'all's, so look at the
So-
schedule.
That's just perfect. So all the 20%.
Caitlin can attend it again.
Yeah,
It's
she
the
will
same
have
thing
to
as
go.
Arsenal.
She will have to go. We have some trainings going on this month, so we're doing time management for like Teams meetings, so it's not in person, so that's good. We are having a cataloging training on April 16th, so hopefully you can send your catalogers to that. Jobeth will be doing that together with Laura Reeves.
Is it open to people that are not catalogers?
Oh, yeah.
Title? Okay, because I can.
Of course, you never know.
I'm going.
Okay.
You never
Yeah, I
know who will end up doing cataloging, so I
Yes.
think that's a really good idea.
Is it at the region?
It's at the region.
Who did
And
you say, Joe Beth and who?
Jobeth Stewart and Laura Reeves. She's from the, she's from the line.
April what?
16.
16.
So we'll send an email out about that and invite you all. But, and then on April 18th, I'm hoping to see many of you there. We're having a statewide virtual partnership fair. And since you all are doing have so many partners now, we're doing all that collaboration, I think it would be really nice to see you all there. And I think we'll probably have about 11 organizations that will come and say, this is who we are, this is how we would like to work with you.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's cool.
it is really nice, and we built it over a few years now. This is our third year, I think. And we have a whole list, and you can look at our LibGuide to see all the partners that we're already starting to work with, and they have like specific plans of how they want to work with libraries. So if you're interested in that and want to expand, the
April
LibGuide
18th.
is a good place to go. Just contact me. But the virtual partnership fair is going to be a good one, and so that will be some new organizations will join us that day. Let's see. The Southeast Collaborative Conference is going on right now. I don't know if any of you are doing it.
I tried.
Yeah, I kind of did the same. But yes, tomorrow I have like
Yeah.
7 sessions or something like that I've signed up for, but up until now nothing. So, but it's a free conference.
My staff is going.
That's great. Any trainings? It's perfect. Early math literacy is also happening in April on the 24th. It's at TSLA. I've sent out a couple of emails and Kate Smith has sent out some emails.
And then Carlos going.
I think that's more or less it. I have this for Hendersonville, just a core competency, Lauren Boss.
Yes.
Yeah. It's your official pin.
And I think that's
We'll
it.
do a whole weird ceremony about it. It's gonna be weird.
She worked hard on that.
Did she?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good program.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, we're going to go back. Lauren, were you the one that put together
I did put the atrium packet.
the atrium packet together? So if you want to give us just a quick
Yeah,
run
let me
through.
pull it up on my phone. I've got it on my phone real quick.
Okay.
I've got a copy. Y'all can look through it. Where's my pen drive?
And then after you get through, I do know there are a few questions, so we'll see if we can
Hopefully
help.
all questions can be resolved.
Right, yes.
Well, I discovered today a lot of my questions weren't being answered because they were not spelling my last name correctly in the emails.
Oh, okay.
So all the quotes, all the questions that just
Oh.
sat in the void
Yeah.
were because they were sending it to neighbors without the U
Oh,
in it.
yes.
There you go.
So
That's why when I texted you yesterday, I was like, I don't know if she's busy, but he thinks he sent it out, and I was like, I just wanna make
Yeah,
sure,
and he
like,
kept
there's no
saying,
some.
I send it.
miscommunication. Yeah, that you really get you.
So they did, forward an email, and then I saw that they had
Okay, because
done
that's
it,
what,
so I'm
you
like,
had
you
sent
need to
that
change your
to
records. 'cause
that
it's-
mass group, and I have, it's been craziness, but I saw
Yeah.
like, with the first question, I was like, okay, we know, like, I've got this in this packet that I'm creating, so I was like, we can answer this question.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so the first page, this is just a guide to cover the different facets of Atrium, how it's a benefit, how it would be cost effective in the long run, at least for what I've viewed from the other libraries in my location. It's cloud-based, so that means that we don't have to host like server memory in-house. Everything, we can access it from the internet. Our data's secured on their sites. It won't slow down our servers here as much. TLC has been the pain in our rears because we have to refresh it every 30 seconds. Cataloging should not take days. Today, I was able to catalog, not today, yesterday evening, from like 6 to 7, I cataloged like 30, 40 books, and I was amazed, but I think it's because no one else in the county was on the list too, and I was doing it after hours. But when Gabby has 2 or 3 catalogers, y'all have 3 catalogers, Dorothy, Debbie, and then me and whoever else might be working on and if you're working on ILL books as well, nobody can get anything done. So this would solve a lot of that issue as well. Page 3, the understanding the need. For library staff, it's a faster, more reliable circulation than what we're currently using. We have access to the MARC records, so when we input like an ISBN, whatever we need, the record comes directly to us. We can pop it up and it just fills in the codes for us, and if we want to add extra information, we can.
From the Library of Congress.
From the Library of Congress, and this is a new feature that they just updated. Whenever like contracts are signed, we get a project manager. They have people come on site to each individual library to do a 2-day training, and that's included in the quote.
That's awesome.
Direct contact with vendors. Who uses Hoopla, Overdrive, and that were the 2 examples he gave. But we can through this system we can talk directly with those vendors, so it's not like we're having to go through 3 different people.
Yeah, they can work with them too.
Yes.
Good. That
And
was one of my
Cybrary is a
questions.
big one.
That never got answered.
That's a big one.
Cyber, are y'all switched to Cybrarian now?
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I know that was a mile to walk.
It was something.
Cybrarian's still not my favorite, but it
Better
does
than what we
the
used to do.
job.
It's doing what EnvisionWare was not,
Yes.
which is functioning.
Mhm, yeah.
That is important.
There was not functioning at all. They said there's easy dynamic reports, so when we do that, and we've had Linda Ackerman, who's at Portland, who's been there since the dawn of time. She was with Concourse, which is Atrium now. We switched to TLC, and she's moving back to Atrium, and she's very excited. She said the reports are easier, cataloging's easier. She had all glowing remarks.
It's one of those statistical things with Atrium. You can prove anything you want to if you pull the right statistics in.
Yes.
So,
And
yeah.
reports on TLC
Yeah.
are the nightmare.
The numbers that they gave me.
For library patrons,
Our size library.
it's the OPAC, which is the online public access catalog. It will be much more user-friendly. It's customizable. We can make different sections. We can have suggested books for books you like. Our catalog right now, unless you're in the children's catalog, it has everything all together, kind of mixed together, unless you know exactly what you're searching for. It does not do keywords. If you spell the title wrong, it does not suggest it to you. It's just like, oh, we don't have that title. So if you don't spell James Patterson wrong, you're not going to get any James Patterson. And that's a feature. There's a mobile app that you can use.
It looks exactly like the one, I guess.
And it speaks to other libraries. So if I don't have it here, they can look within the app and they can see that Portland has it, or that Gallatin has it, or so on. Another big thing, Atrium is used by all Sumner County schools. So we can look at their catalogs, we can look at different stuff like that. The kids that use the catalog at school to look for books, it's very familiar for them. It's very intuitive. As they grow, it's just a good consistency for the public. I think that's a good service. There's a page of additional notes. I do not want to read them verbatim. But lots of good glowing remarks. Red River Region with Cecilia. I missed that meeting because I was out of training, but Gabby kind of talked about Atrium. Glowing remarks
I just
from
asked
a lot
for
of people.
recommendations, and they were all like interrupting each other to brag on Atrium. And they emailed me afterwards all the links and created cards for us and have really let us help them play around
Who's the
with
most
it.
recent library that just switched?
That's Stuart.
Stewart County?
That's good.
Is that
Grace
Gracie?
Gracie.
That's great.
Yeah, Gracie's giving us so much. Good job.
I lost my train of thought.
It happens.
Money is a very important thing. So I got the cost breakdown over the next 5 pages of Gallatin, Hendersonville, Portland, Westmoreland, and Millersville. We are not, Atrium is not a contract-based company, it's year to year. But to keep the costs effective for our budgets, keep them well maintained, we have the option that we would be comfortable going to where it's a 3-year contract where it's an amortization. Yeah, thank you. I can read it.
Yeah.
But it's 3 years at the same price instead of like $5,000, $6,000 up front for my library. It's like $2,000.
Like
And
for
a little
the,
change.
the whole amount for the whole, for everyone to move, the $36,292
Mhm.
is gonna be distributed.
Distributed into 3 years.
Yes, rather than coming up with 36,000.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, so that top number, like year 1, that is what you pay up front. And like in the contract that he sent, from July, and it starts
You mean
July.
that you said it,
Yeah.
And I haven't looked over if there's a revised one, but year 1, year 2, and year 3 will all be the same. And then starting year 4, now that we've paid off the training and all that initial
Right.
stuff, year 4 and year 5 starts our regular payment, which is even half of what we're paying years 1 through 3.
More than that.
Yours is, okay, so more than half.
It will be a
Mine
cost
is exactly
saving
half.
once we pay off the
Yeah.
the
These first 3
transition.
years, it costs
It'll be
more
less.
than
But it's still
TLC, and then
similar.
after that, it is a
More.
cost-effective thing after,
Yeah.
because TLC will cost more than that.
There,
Unless, I
for
don't know about
Hendersonville,
Hendersonville's.
well, for Hendersonville, there are some issues because even right off the bat, just like our snapshot and our circulation, we're way over 135,000. It's like we're over that amount now. So we need to know what happens. I mean, we're already at. It depends
What's the
on.
cost gonna look like?
It
after that?
depends, I mean, what is actually considered a transaction? Because if transaction is just the initial transaction, we're at 148,055, that's for 2022.
Yeah.
So we know we're over that.
And
Now,
Andy
if
is our
it's not
contact
that-
point. If you send him this information,
Yeah,
within
Andy might be able
24
to send you
hours,
a-
But
we'll
if
have
it's
you a
not
bill.
that, if transaction means something else, as of today's date, we're at 368,000.
Yeah.
The only thing that also, there was a couple of things that, like, only 7%
Mhm.
of the libraries that they service are our size library.
Yeah.
It's not a medium library
And that
or a
was
small
my big
library. That's a
concern up
huge,
front.
that's a
Yeah.
huge.
But that's similar with every company we
With
looked
it
at.
being a
Well,
level 5.
and it
size
could be that,
Mhm.
another thing, I don't know, did you guys get to go into the sandbox and
We
play
played
around?
with it some, I haven't
Yeah.
gotten too deep.
Yeah, have the catalogers been able to
Mhm.
mess around with that, and how do they feel about it?
One of my catalogers came from the schools, and she's only a part-timer, so she played with it all by herself, but my other 2 catalogers have never looked at it before and were able to do everything.
Yeah,
They found it really intuitive to,
we did, and it is a lot of information
Mhm.
on the main page.
That was my thing, it's like, the
It's a
look
lot.
of it is kind of funky.
It's very antiquate in the
Yeah.
look. In fact, it looks like beginning programming.
yeah.
When it does not look like anything that we're so used to with TLC.
Yeah.
TLC has much more of a beautiful interface as far
But
as,
only for us.
Pa-
The user
well, and the
interface-
patrons.
Oh,
I do think that some of the questions are really cost effective too, because that $36,000, that's a lot of money that, are we really gonna be able to get that kind of money? Another thing I was really worried about is I did a little bit of research, and unfortunately, Atrium has lost over half its clients in the last 2 years. Why? Why have they
I
lost
hadn't
half
seen that
their?
they had lost. I knew TLC's been losing clients left and right as well.
Atrium are down
Over
to
the last 4 years, they
109.
lost 100.
Yeah,
100.
yeah. So that's concerning, because if we're gonna sign a 4-year contract with a company that's has lost almost half their clients, and it looks like a lot of it has to do with the way that they're handling things, so I'm concerned about that, you know. Those are questions that, I remember getting an email that Alicia was so kind to forward to me from Anita, talking about TLC and how that we could go to the cloud, because we've not even done that. Some of the issues that you guys are talking about, those are truly issues that have to do with IT. They don't have to do with TLC. I mean, even
Yeah.
IT has said that
The
there's
big-
a lag.
And we
It's
found the
all
port.
because
The big
it's-
issue is because it's sitting on our servers.
Yes,
That's
it's because
right.
it's all on one server.
That's
If we
right.
move to the cloud, we'd probably get rid of it, because White House Library and Stokes Brown Library are, with TLC, they're on the cloud, no issues.
Wilson County
whatsoever.
is having the exact same problems we are. We just hired a cataloger from Mount Juliet, and she said they're experiencing the exact same thing.
But
and
are they on the
on
cloud? Well, we've got people that are saying that they're not, so, I mean,
haven't had
that
any.
are close by. And we got a wonderful email from Anita, talking about how that we could join the cloud at
I
TLC.
can't afford to do the cloud.
I can't afford it, I don't
But-
have it in my budget.
But if you can't afford it,
$12,930
No,
will be our
no,
yearly cloud service.
let me finish. The email that you sent, please. The email that you sent talked about joining the cloud for TLC until the end of the year. And it was a really reasonable price. What do y'all think about maybe trying to join TLC to the end of the year, to where we can see if some of the issues that we're having with TLC are truly something with TLC, or are they truly something with IT? And the reason I say that
I
is,
don't have the money to do that.
but I thought y'all said everybody did have the money to do that.
I don't have the money for this.
For the
For the
cloud, we
cloud,
don't.
to even just for the
No,
rest
no,
of
no.
this year, I do not have
Oh,
the
you don't
money
have the
in my budget.
$431?
I do not have the money in my budget. It's been a flat budget for 2 years. I'm going with another flat budget because of the expectations of how everything is working. I do not have it in my budget to do that. And I don't mean to be confrontational, and I didn't mean to interrupt, but I think Atrium will work great for us, and if I just have to go do Atrium myself, I can. We are not a system. I can't afford to stay on TLC. I can,
Not with how poorly it runs.
not with how it is. I send tickets, they never respond. I call, they never send me emails back. I have been able to get every single question answered from Atrium. I agree, it does look a little clunky, but on the patron side, the ease of access, so much better. I would rather have our library side be a little bit clunkier if it makes it easier for the patrons, because it's really not that clunky. I've worked in 5 different library systems. It's not that bad. There's always a transition period that is horrible. And so I understand I hear what you're saying, and I completely agree with your concerns. I do not have it in my budget to do that.
May I have asked, if each library gets its own system, I know it's cheaper if you bundle, but how does that affect?
It's not.
It's
not
not.
cheaper.
It's not cheaper
No,
if you
we're not,
bundle?
we're not
Oh.
bundling anything.
Oh, okay, well, that's kind of, I guess, what I thought I heard, but anyway, and it made sense, because usually the more, but if each of you get your own system, how does that affect your ability, my ability in Hendersonville to check out a book from Millersville?
You would have to have a
You
Millersville
have to have
card,
a Millersville
which
card,
wouldn't
is what
cost you anything.
yeah.
But can I right now go check out a book, if I'm at Hendersonville Library, can I check out a library book from Millersville?
Currently with your Hendersonville card with TLC, yes.
But you'd still have to go to
Because
that
y'all all have the
location.
same thing.
You have the
Yeah.
same system.
But if you have different systems, you won't be able to do that.
I don't want to do that, but I have looked at the budget.
I'm just asking,
No,
I'm
I
asking for
understand.
whoever's watching the video.
No,
Yeah.
it would make that a little more challenging, but the number that we actually share and the overlap,
It's a
we
low
manage
overflow.
it in our personal cars.
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah, we carry your
there's
books back
not,
and forth.
there's not a
I'm
lot
not,
of it.
I'm not asking about that, I'm asking about as a patron, if you all have different systems, that means I'm gonna have to drive to another library to look at their collection. If they say with
Oh, you'd be
TLC,
able to
you
look
can
it up
look at
online.
it
On the website.
We can
Oh,
look it
okay.
up.
Yeah.
So it won't affect the patron's ability to
No.
function at all.
It'll be You wouldn't be able to place a hold on a book unless you have a library card. But if you have a library card for like Gallatin and then in Portland or whatever, if they're on separate systems, then.
You know, I really am not you know, I'm really at a loss because I literally looked at the numbers in it, and the TLC, staying with TLC looks cheaper than going to Atrium, by almost $15,000.
Well, that's for us, our budget.
But no, but I mean, and like, for example, when you look at the dividing up of the utilization of the infrastructure, the way it's divided up, I'm really not understanding that at all.
So the
Because
total charge for TLC, for a yearly charge, with all 5 of us together and everything, for like me, would be $6,592.
yes,
According to this, my first year with Atrium would be $5,900, well, no, with the amortization that they did would only be $3,651. To me,
right.
that is almost $3,000 less.
But I don't understand how they're dividing up the actual infrastructure for the cloud. So we each use the cloud in the same way. Hendersonville does not use the cloud more than Westmoreland or what, so
They
they've
base the
divided that.
price on
These are not
circulation
not
numbers.
grouped together. My quote has nothing to do with your quote.
Yeah.
But
These are all individual quotes.
I
So what she's saying
understand, but
is
the
they're not a big
infrastructure,
No,
the
it's not.
infrastructure for.
Their numbers are
can't
not as
take mine and add it to hers and add it to hers and that's not the number.
No, and I understand what you're
Yeah.
trying to say. I'm trying to understand, so the actual cost of the infrastructure of going to the cloud, shouldn't that be divided equally instead of, the reason
No,
why?
because she's saying that it's
No.
not.
We have
No,
historically.
I'm not using your cloud, you're not using my cloud. They're all individual.
She's talking about TLC's cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
We've
talking
always
about
divided
TLC
it up
costs.
because Hendersonville has a much bigger, like y'all always say, you're a level 5 library, you have so much more circulation, so many more patrons. That's why y'all pay a larger percent of the total cost of TLC. Anita and I serve a similar population, our numbers are similar, so we pay the same amount as each other. And they're tiny, they can't afford to break this up equally, ever. That will never happen, and we will all have to separate, if that is what you're
No,
hinting at.
I'm trying to understand is what I really am trying to understand exactly why.
Yeah, there was a
You
lot
know.
of questions and I didn't have the answers, and with
Yeah.
no feedback from Andy, up until, 1 o'clock today,
Yeah.
I can't answer their questions on that.
And also, there's a lot of things in Atrium when we were in the sandbox. I think it would be really nice if we could have an actual demo, if they could do a demo for us so that we could watch how it's being maneuvered around in and we could ask questions during that time.
Absolutely, just send Andy an
You know what I
email,
mean?
I'm
There's a
sure he'd be
lot of
happy to
things
set
that,
up.
yeah. I mean, we're even us trying to doing some cataloging and things of that nature, it was very concerning because we could not, even our barcodes or our patron codes cannot be entered because we have the question of how do
They'll
they?
use our same library card numbers and our same barcodes, the same format will carry right over.
It
Well,
wouldn't-
the sandbox just, it didn't have.
It
what
wouldn't- it
let us
doesn't-
do
it
that.
won't let
It's
us.
a
Because it's
sandbox.
got-
Yeah, that's why we wanna
The
deal with
sandbox
that,
is a
lets us
very
use
limited
the.
database.
Yeah.
That's
But
why
we
she
were-
sent us the
But we were
barcodes
really
to
truly
use.
trying to say,
Yeah.
okay, well, why is this not working? Is this going to be an issue? These are very valid questions. as to-
Absolutely, have
yeah.
you reached out to Atrium and asked the questions, because we don't have the
We
answers to the
did.
questions.
We did,
Yeah.
but like I mentioned earlier, they had my email wrong.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so.
So you
So that's why
just
we
got
got our
answers
questions.
today.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
still haven't got, we thought you guys might know because,
The
you guys
questions I
are,
was concerned with aren't necessarily the same, because my patrons, my library, what I have is different. So those weren't the questions I was asking, because those weren't what my library.
we're very concerned about those transaction numbers.
Absolutely here.
Because if it is each transaction and it is how they count that, then we are way over that, way over that.
Do we even have a 100% guarantee that all of our records and data will be transferred over
Yeah.
properly without getting lost?
No company is ever gonna be able to offer 100%.
That's what I'm saying. So
Oh, it
what
must-
happens?
It doesn't matter
if-
where you go, nobody can offer
They
it.
Yeah, well, I know, but like, what happens if we lose a bunch of data?
How hard is it to make a new card or to catalog a random book occasionally? It's just not
What
that
if
big of a
it's
challenge.
large size?
But again, I recommend
Yeah, like I
reaching out to
said.
Andy.
Yeah, I would
see if
think
he
get
gets
your
you
questions
and then
answered
share it
from
with
him.
us. That would be
Also,
great.
also there is,
I'll see y'all.
there is
Be
an exit
safe.
fee from TLC. There's an exit price from TLC.
Yeah.
No,
There's not.
Yes,
So we have no
Yeah, we were
contract.
told-
We have no contract
There's
with
no
them, so at the
contract.
end
They
of
can't
June, we would literally just walk away.
We were
We
told
have
it
no
was a
contract.
$2,000 fee.
Did y'all contact TLC and ask that?
We asked.
That's what they will
Yeah.
charge, but it's not, if if we finish the fiscal year and we don't renew, then we just don't renew. There's just, yeah.
And then one of our biggest concerns is starting because we are such a huge library, huge. To start a transaction before summer reading, we're really concerned. Because I appreciate that you guys are, talking about all this, because for us, if there's anything with our numbers and the way that we are and what we're doing in Hendersonville, if we start something like this before summer reading, it could be catastrophic if things don't go well. It could be very catastrophic. And that's very concerning to us.
The thing I see now, we've got to start because they do have your name spelled correctly now, and you can get the answers to what you want. And that can be a start. If we need to have a special call meeting, or if I need to come to Hendersonville and help you, or some of these. Okay, I'd be glad to do that. Yeah, I'll be glad to do that. The other beauty I see in this, or advantage, the fact that we're no longer under an executive director where all the money was in one pot and they had to agree on it to get it from finance to where it's not that way anymore. You could conceivably negotiate your own contract with TLC if that works for you. And the beauty is we're not tied to one anymore because your money is yours and their money, and normally
same
we
time,
don't
I
get
also would
involved
like
in the
to have a
day-to-day.
cohesive
Yes, but I will be glad to
Sumner County
come.
where we're all functioning the same, so
But
if I
that
do
would be
have something
nice.
come up, I
Yes.
can reach out and say.
That would be an advantage
Right.
to talk to everybody, but it's not the end of the world if you don't. Because computers are wonderful things. And there are kids out there that'll figure out they can find a book in your library and they can find a book in Amy's too. Better than I could. And I worked with it. But, I think that's the beauty in we don't have to have a thus saith the Lord in order to do this.
And I think finance and that budget's coming, I think they would, I think because the commission would work, I know you're dying, because people ask us for money year-round, and they're not supposed
No, I
to,
mean, this is
but
our-
I'm just saying,
System, not our popcorn
Right,
allowance, so
yeah.
Well-
it seems necessary.
Oh, I know,
And
but-
it's something that if it's gonna affect us for the next 4 years, and change is good. Change is not always bad at all. But, it's not a difficult system, and it does have some pluses. These are concerns that, I'm thinking about in the long run especially even before summer reading, trying to integrate it for staff. We have a large staff, there's so many things.
We
I
were wanting to start it in April and everything.
Yeah.
That would give us April, May, and June, or
Yeah.
April and May.
And I saw
everything
that,
before
yeah.
we start with,
I
June.
would like
And
to
did you say they would do a piggyback? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well,
Yes, they
basically,
would do
we
a
would run
simul-
TLC right up until the end of June. when we
Right,
renew them, yeah.
but you could get Atrium uploaded where you could do them both. Didn't you do that with Surpass? When you were looking at it, where they let you
Gabby
look
was
at
the
both
one
of
that
them?
did that.
Gabby looked at that, okay, and she's gone, but didn't you say that you could run, you could run both of them? And you could see on your screens?
We did that. We've done that
Okay.
the last few days. It's been running them both to take a look at them, to compare.
And of course, I know it's a
See.
limited kind of thing.
I'm wondering if, because I know that Atrium has been growing in the state, just in general, the last few years, but if it would be helpful, I can get a list of who has atrium right now, so you can see some of them might be closer to your size.
I got a list of them from Marshall, what's his name, Bedding?
Yeah, I don't know, but if you have one, that's great. I mean,
Marshall Breeding.
Okay.
You know, the gentleman who does all the comparisons for technology for the United States for libraries through ALA. You know, he does that report he does every year.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that information has been gathered in that
you
report.
know who has it in the state?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I've already, and actually, I reached out to some of the libraries
Can
already.
you send me some of that, Lisa?
I sent it to you earlier in an email.
Yeah.
Or
The library.
it was yesterday, I believe.
That's
that
so
list
really
might be
They just had a list of the libraries, it didn't have like.
That report is a very instrumental report in making choices as far as if you were going to go for another system. There's some very interesting information about
Is it up to date? Because I
very
know I
up to
clicked
date.
on Portland and none of that information was
Well,
correct.
some of it isn't,
Yeah,
some of it
that's
is
what
not
I'm saying,
correct, but some of it isn't correct as far as who has this system. And, you know, I'm sure in lag time that there are some
changes, yeah.
inconsistencies, yes,
Yeah.
but for the majority of reading that, you know, it is worth the read to find out. I would like to say real quick, because I just want to give a shout out. I do wish that they would do something for the food for fines. I totally agree. I think that is a very important part of library giving back to the community. And I really hope that they consider taking that recommendation. We used to do it a long time ago, and I think that it's a sad shame that we lost it. I think it's a very good thing of giving back to the communities. I totally agree with Amy about that, so I'd like to say that. I want that to be heard. So.
Yeah, that's, there again, you're gonna have to get, you know, a collaboration between finance and and it's just a talking point because, you know, just see how it goes. But yeah, it's a good idea.
Sure, we can
because
compare numbers.
Yeah. But it did serve the community well and you know, left a good feeling.
I will say that they did a lot of really good research about atrium. That's really nice. I noticed some of the other things were assigned, the Polaris and...
Yeah, we had looked at others, Polaris and Sierra are academic
Symphony.
libraries
Yeah,
and huge, like it was gonna be $15,000 for 1 year, whereas it's like $2,000 for atrium. It's
Yeah.
like- And so like the cost versus Polaris is beautiful, and I wish I could use Polaris. I looked all through their training videos on YouTube and talked to the guy, and I was like, this is great. I can't give you $15,000. Sorry. Because I sent him the information that Andy had of, not like the full official quote, but I was like, this is what we're gonna look at as one option. And he's like, yeah.
Well, you know, it was so funny. When we first started out in Hendersonville, we were with Concourse or Book Systems, and when we went over to LS2, we were scared. You know what I mean? It's a scary thing to have to have change and learn, but it worked out fine. And you know, I'm not saying that this is not a great idea. I just am really, there are some questions that I think that might, in the long run, affect Hendersonville because we are so large. That's the biggest concern, you know, as far as data charges and things of that nature. You know.
If it comes to, like, I know we want to have a consistency across the board, but if Hendersonville, because y'all are level 5, y'all have, what, 50% of all the library in the county, like circulation and whatnot. If it comes to the idea of Atrium works better for the smaller libraries, but LS2 works better for the larger libraries, would y'all be able to talk to LS2 as far as like a quote for your location? Okay, I just wonder what that cost would look like for
Yeah,
you.
we've
Yeah,
already-
we don't, yeah, I mean, we have
We
to
reached
find
out,
out, you know.
to get like the
And that's a little
proration
scary.
and all that stuff.
And
Because that would
again,
help a lot with y'all's end of like,
Yeah.
would Atrium be beneficial, or would it be like, okay, we transfer to a single contract for Hendersonville specifically, and then like it might be, there's no migration cost, there's no
and
setup
again, does
costs.
it affect the patron's
Right.
ability?
The patron would still be able to use the catalog and look at books. The only thing that would change is like I can use my Westmoreland card any library. They would just have to sign up for a library card at the location they're using. But
So Hendersonville people would have to get the library cards from Millersville.
if they are trying to check something out physically from the library,
Because you would have two different
systems.
Okay, that makes sense, because Metro's all the same.
Yeah, that's
And
what
so when I look at my
Yeah.
books on Metro,
I do
everything
wonder-
goes to Goodlettsville, and it's on a cute little bus that says Davidson County, da-da-da.
something
So they
that
have a
I don't know
courier.
if they would be interested, but like, we use our barcodes that are on the back of our library cards to create a patron card. So even if they have one Hendersonville card that has the barcode, I wonder if they could bring it into our location and a courtesy be, they use their Hendersonville card, we just created their account in our
And use
system.
their barcode.
And so they don't have to create a new card or
That's an
anything.
interesting
That
concept.
So they would still be able to keep it, it's just, it would be a different system.
That's an
And you
interesting
could,
concept.
I think you could do that manually.
Yeah, I think that would be
You're
manually
thinking
done.
there's not that many people
That would work.
Yeah.
that
With the
are gonna
overlap, the
go.
only main overlap I see sometimes is like Hendersonville, Gallatin, but I think a lot of people
Yeah.
are like, I like Gallatin or I like Hendersonville, and it's kind of like a.
And it more, and I think the convenience lies in, they can check it out from you, but they can drop it off in Portland. And
That's always gonna be the
That's,
case. Yeah,
that's
I was gonna say,
always,
we'll always
you know,
do that.
that's always gonna
Yeah.
happen.
So say,
So-
do you find that a lot of the libraries in Tennessee went to Atrium? Or is that,
So I,
What do you-
I haven't done a study or anything like that. I've heard for a while that, so a lot of our libraries, with a small budget went with Verso back in the day.
Right, right.
Because the state did a
Promoted it,
contract, they
yeah.
made a really good deal. And a lot of those libraries have moved over to book systems, so
Yeah.
to Atrium. But I don't know how many, but in our region, we have, I guess, 4 libraries that have recently moved over from Verso to Atrium, and are very happy.
yeah. But Verso had its own set of problems.
Yeah, I mean, every
Yeah.
system has problems, and I
Yeah.
think, that, and of course, that's their experience, and it goes over to this, like,
Right.
this is how, comparing that.
Was it cost effective? Do
Yeah.
you think that's why they went from Verso over to
So
Atrium?
I don't think that was not I don't think that was because first it was quite cheap. I think they found that it's like $50 more or less or something like that. So I don't think that's really made.
Why do you feel like they went to Atrium from
I
Verso?
think they just had a lot of issues with reports
Yeah.
and I think cataloging might have been an issue at some point, but
On Verso.
I mean they're all different and this like you all say that you all have issues in different ways when it comes to this, but and I think some of them were talking about the patron experience as well.
And I'm sorry, I really thought I understood that everyone could, I really truly thought this, that everyone had the money in their budget that could try TLC on the cloud till the end. I thought we all had that money, so I'm sorry, I didn't realize that, yeah.
I know Gabby told me outright she did not.
Yeah.
I think Gabby, or you said you was gonna have to give up something.
I said I'd have to give it up for
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
I mean, I
You
couldn't
said-
stop
But if
it,
we're-
buying
yeah.
books
Yeah.
and try it, but I don't.
I mean, and like, if it came to that, but I'm thinking Andy would need, if we're doing this before summer, if we were to make the transition and not pay for TLC another year per library, he says he needs an official go-ahead by April 1st. I put in that report March 22nd because I deal, not like but like personal life, I deal with people that need a due date earlier, because then I can remind them. But would y'all be able to, like, if y'all ever want to stick with LS2, if it's a comfortable thing and it's something that y'all want, would y'all be able to look into getting an invoice or a quote for just your location and
Yeah.
see what that would compare to
We
this
already
year?
asked for a quote.
Yeah.
For just.
Yeah, we've reached out, we
Oh,
just
yeah.
haven't.
Oh, y'all just haven't got it yet?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
And I even asked her, make sure.
Because
they
I would
spell my
love
last
to
name
know
right.
that, because like,
Yeah,
I'm not the kind of person to leave people high and dry as well,
Yeah.
but also like, as far as the cloud and TLC, and especially if you wanted to split it like 5 equal parts,
Yeah.
I don't have the budget for that at all.
no,
So-
and I just was curious as to why the infrastructure was divided up the way it was.
Yeah.
That infrastructure amount that, I don't know, what was it,
12,000.
12,930? You know, that everyone's using that equally, and I can understand if, if our budget was a lot more,
Yeah.
and maybe that is I'm just asking the question because I didn't know the answer.
And that percentage that I used and everything was actually set by the library board 3, 4, 5 years ago. It's actually 40, 20, 20, 10, 10.
Is that the one? the
So,
Vimeo?
so how would, because of that migration, the migration cost to Atrium, how would y'all handle that if we weren't on board with that? Because that migration is not gonna go, it's the
It's
same
each
21,000.
It's,
That
it
21,000
won't cost
migration.
anything for the data. TLC charges if we notify them that we're moving from them. But if we have the data on site that we do, Atrium can use that data.
Because we have our servers here.
Because we have
the
servers.
backup.
Yeah, we have our backup.
But that, so that migration cost of 21,000 is, how would y'all handle that if you had to pay the whole migration cost?
You won't have to pay it.
There is a migration cost. Our
But if
migration
you
cost.
don't tell them you're leaving,
No,
you
this,
just
we're
let the
talking about
contract run
Atrium.
out.
We're talking about
Oh,
Atrium.
Atrium.
Yeah, I'm talking about Atrium. Our migration cost to move is
Oh.
$10,375.
My migration cost is much cheaper and it's worked into the amortization. So if you, that back page, the colorful graph.
Yes.
It shows you how much you pay each year and that includes the migration cost.
But the thing is that migration cost, the way they split that up was because we carry the mother load of that amount. They're going to, I would assume that some of this is gonna come back to you as you're gonna have to pay
It's
it.
based on our personal library
Because
numbers.
my
So
migration
not-
is
let me ask a
48
question, just as a
48,000.
listener of
Yes.
this. The sheets that are in the Atrium thing that you put out, that's basically what it's going to be for each of your libraries,
Yeah.
not contingent
Not
on each
contingent on
other.
each other.
Okay, that's
So it's
good.
not
Yes.
splitting,
That's
it's
good.
actually.
Well,
Yes,
that's
'cause
good
she's got
because
Hendersonville
that's
here and
concerned, you know, I
Gallatin
was concerned that
here
like if we don't
and
go
Florida.
with you, will part of this 10,375 come
No,
back?
they're
on
letting
us?
you
That
just
right there
yours.
is just for Hendersonville.
'Cause it's based off of your
There's no cost of ours
circulation.
on there. That is just for
But
Hendersonville.
each of these sheets that are in this handout,
Because it's based on your circulation transaction numbers, which you said you were concerned about the transaction numbers as well.
That we are concerned about the transaction because we're over that for sure. Yeah, so that
and I
is,
think that should, when you
Yeah.
contact him, give him that information and tell him, this, you know, our transaction numbers are not accurate here, so you need to talk to me about that and give me, see if that changes it or whatever. And,
and I think
see
it's
what you find
concerning
out,
that
let me know,
they've
and-
lost so many clients.
and
Yeah, I don't know
So
why.
TLC is that information. I would like to see the
Yeah.
research on that, if
We
you
got-
lost the
yeah.
conference, where you saw that and everything.
I mean, I printed it out if you want it.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
okay.
Beginning.
Okay, and the worst thing is, this is after budget's been turned in.
Yes, yeah.
But I know, we
But
know,
again-
several of us understand it has to be fixed. I've talked to others, a couple of other
Thank you.
commissioners, they've talked to Robert Tuttle. We know that there are holes in data could leak,
Right.
and it affects everybody in the county because it all comes through our servers. So,
And you know, take that with.
just to give y'all a heads up, that other commissioners are aware of this.
Well, and that's from the library technology guides, right? Because LS2s, when I looked it up, that was, LS2's got a lot of people leaving as
It's
well.
so
So that's
true.
kind of like,
I know, it's so true.
I know this was just a work study, but do we
Yeah,
need
it's
to
just
have
a work study,
have a
yes,
thing? No. Do we have a motion, do we have to motion to adjourn?
I think we
know
can
I'm-
just say.
Okay, y'all
we're
can keep
finished.
talking, I just didn't know if we could
I am.
turn this on.